Last time on Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2, we did another section of events on the Ultimate Racer event tree. And now I think it's time for me to return to Championship mode, as it's now time for us to begin what I think is... what is this? Our fourth section of the event tree? Well, I don't know. Anyways. So, time for event number 15 on the Championship mode tree. Although technically this is episode 29, but, well, you get the idea. Anyways. Time for the Ferrari versus Ford Showdown. And where the track we're heading to is called Fall Winds. It's Maranello, Italy versus Detroit, Michigan. In this 4-race tournament between the Ferrari 360 Spider and the Ford SVT Mustang Cobra R. Each race consists of 3 laps. You must win this event to unlock events 22 and 23, and to continue your quest to become the world champion. I kind of wish they had some commas in those descriptions, so you're not having to just read the whole thing aloud. That could just be me, but, you know. Anyway. So, we have a choice of 2 cars. We can either use the Ferrari 360 Spider or the Mustang, and well, I think because the Ferrari has less monotony when it comes to colour choices, I'm going to use the Ferrari. It's also because, well, it's practically inevitable to say that in the upcoming events I'll probably use the Ferrari anyway, so that's precisely what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the Ferrari. Hey Fiorana, I think it's time for you to ride on your prancing horses. So, it is a 4-race championship. There are 7 opponents in this race, as we've got Dom, Juan, Alexis, Wayne, Mika and Ashley as our competition, and I'm pretty sure I've not driven Fall Winds before. At least I don't think I have. Anyway, let's get on with the event itself before I go off on a rant. So yeah, here we go. 4 races. It is a tournament which I am doing in the Ferrari because, well, I already used the Mustang once before. And I can already say this car is immediately making a difference. Because I already feel like I'm playing amongst the big boys. Even then, if realistically I am not one of those big boys. But again, I can at least say it feels like I'm up there with the pros, and I completely overshot the corner. That's understandable to me. Because, well, I've never driven 4 Winds before. Well, anyway. I think the guy in last is trying to find a shortcut that's probably not going to work. But hopefully, as time goes on, I will get more and more used to this. And, of course, as you've noticed, I'm driving a Ferrari, but I'm not driving a Ferrari in red. I'm driving it in blue. And I am now chasing down a Ferrari in black. Some people could argue it's almost like I'm chasing down Men in Black. Anyways, I take the lead. It's a 90s movie reference if you want to know what that is. And I'm not having a very good time of controlling this thing. And the leader is taking a shortcut. I don't think he's going to benefit too much from it. I am doing very poorly at the moment in terms of my track navigation skills. Okay, I'll give him points for retaking the lead. But what I won't give him points for yet is for beating me straight up. That's not quite on the cards yet. Especially because, well, this is a 3-lapper for all the races. I'm also pretty sure this will... It's either this event or the next event that will basically give us the Ferrari 360, which I think is loosely based off of the Ferrari 360 Modena. At least I think that's the car it's based off of. Well, it's basically a convertible version of the Ferrari 360 Modena. At least I think that's what it is. Anyways. I'm also pretty sure Modena is the name of a town in Italy somewhere, but I couldn't tell you for sure unless I did my research. And Juan is not going easy on me. He is right on my ass. But it doesn't matter because I am leading the way. And if it's possible, I can legally lead the first lap. Because there are no cops about. Anyway. First lap is done, crossed the bridge, and got a ton of oversteer once I let off the throttle, and he is right behind me. But it's okay, because I am currently still in the lead. I lead the first lap here at Fall Winds, and there's a lot here for me to get used to. And I'm not just talking about the tunnels, I'm talking about the corners and everything in between. That shortcut is not going to benefit me, at least I'm pretty sure it won't. And already I am still scraping the walls. Anyways, I am still holding on to my race lead. And just keeping myself in check, because it's what I do. And I briefly had a second over one there. Well, you know what? I'm going to take the shortcut this time and see if it really benefits me. Oh, we are in what appears to be a mine. And the screen is having a hard time adjusting to where it leads. But it doesn't matter because it still puts me out in the lead. So, quite surprisingly, there are some shortcuts on this course that do work. And that I can say is one of those. And using the road up high because I know there's more track position there, and this has definitely been a close race, I'm not gonna lie. We've really been going tooth and nail at one another, just literally trying to somehow bust each other's balls. Basically, corner after corner, straightaway after straightaway. Although, personally, I'd say this is more corners rather than straights. if I do say so myself. And I narrowly avoid clipping that rock. And it looks like the dehydration is catching up with my voice. It's probably because of how exciting this race also is. But anyways, I continue my quest for the World Championship, and downshifting to third on the exit of the bridge because I know it's very slippery there. It's almost like I'm crossing onto ice, but I do manage to catch it, and my 360 at the moment is not looking very hot. As in, this car I can definitely say has been better than it has been throughout this race. Because this car has definitely gone through some ball busting. And likewise the AI are more or less giving me something very similar. Because I'm really gonna... because it's actually kind of fun to know that I literally have to be on it for every single corner, and also, aside from that, it's also really fun to know that I'm literally just having to be fully committed to this whole thing, and basically just having to literally drive my balls off. Yeah, that also kind of confuses me, knowing that the view itself literally does not change, knowing that the view itself literally just moves around with the... just literally moves around with those minecart tracks. That does actually confuse me a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. Knowing that the screen itself does not... Oh, he's wrecked himself. Get fucked. I now lead this thing because he fucked himself. Well, sucks to be him, I guess. Anyway. Dom has now taken over second, and I think it's Alexis who's running in third, if I'm not mistaken. Well, anyway. Continuing to lead here at 4 wins. Oh yeah, I also noticed this is the final lap. I've literally not been paying attention to the lap counter all race long, because that's just how adrenaline pumping this race has basically been, and how I'd imagine the rest of this championship is probably going to go. Just me basically having to focus and commentate whilst also just being barely able to keep ahead of my competition in the process, and also literally trying not to wreck myself whilst I do it. Okay, just one corner to go, and there we go, victory!
The winner!
And I did it by half a second. Or virtually half a second. Alrighty then. So, all 4 Ferraris literally beat all 4 Mustangs. I'm so glad I chose the Ferrari for this. Although Mika did have the highest average speed in the first Mustang. So, I beat Dom to the flag by less than half a second. Ashley was third, less than 3 seconds behind. Juan, as a result of his crash, winds up coming home fourth. The last of the Ferrari quartet. The Mustangs were led by Mika, Wayne was 6th, and it was Ashley who came home last.
You're the tournament leader!
So, 1 win to me, and hopefully I can manage to claim at least 2 more wins. Or at least I'm hoping for 2 more wins. It depends on what happens next. You know what? I think I will get a replay here. Just because, you know, new track, new car, and basically a whole lot of fun, more or less. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn down my TV. My TV is... yeah. My TV throughout that race was a little loud. That would probably explain why I was having to focus and commentate so much. I did figure my TV was loud, but I didn't think it was quite that loud. Must have literally been from something I was doing yesterday, but I don't fucking know, man. Even if I did offer a full explanation of what I was doing yesterday, it would almost be impossible for me to make a TLDR description of it. Okay, so just a few more seconds. And... just a little bit longer. Yeah, okay, that should do it. Anyway, let's now move on to race number 2. 1 race is down, and we still have 3 to go. It also kind of sucks to say that we do not get any additional information about what tracks we're heading to. I mean, I know it reveals it in the event itself, but compared to the previous 2 games, I kind of wish they left that feature in. That could just be me, though. Anyways. Ooh, we're at another new track. Palm City Island. Is this basically Island Outskirts, except for saying it's the city section of Island Outskirts? I think that's what this is. Anyway, let's go! So we are actually street racing, because we are in a city. This is going to go about as well as you would have guessed. Because something tells me there is going to be some calamity. If there's any traffic about. Luckily, however, there is no traffic about. And just like that, I immediately open up an early lead because I took the best route among the roads compared to the AI. And now as a result, I've got currently a 7-second advantage. I know that's going to shrink because that's just what the AI do later on in the lap. I mean, I know the interval I currently have is just going to be eviscerated, and it's only going to be a matter of time before they do catch back up to me. And that's a guardrail. Or, as we call it in Europe, an Armco rail. I personally prefer the term guardrail. Although that could just be me because, well, I like Americanisms about as much as I like Britishisms. If that makes any sense. And I missed a very crucial shortcut. Although it doesn't matter because... oh. Actually no, I retract from what I was thinking. That second shortcut actually wasn't as helpful. But either way, at least I know the rubber banding in this game makes the race itself look a lot more competitive than it would have been had I managed to eke out that interval. Oh, that was cheeky. I knew he was going to do that. Anyways. Can I retake the lead? Yes, I can. I can now retake the lead as I downshift on the corner exit, so I don't have a snap of oversteer from locking up the brakes. It should also be mentioned there is no ABS on these cars, which is why you're noticing me locking up quite a lot whenever I use the brakes. Because I'm having to do quite a lot of engine braking as well. Kind of like that. That is, I guess, my best expression of engine braking because, well, I downshifted before I made it into the corner. Engine braking can be a pretty sufficient tactic in this game. And it's taken me nearly 4 minutes to set one lap around this track. And taking the preferable route, of course, while the AI have obviously missed the trick here to getting the early advantage, which is basically what I have. And yo, Mika is running in 4th in the first of the 3 Ford Mustangs. I wonder what happened to Dom. He must have really dropped back somewhere. Oh, Mika is now... Oh wait, hold on, it's Ashley. Okay. So it appears as though the Mustangs are actually running better here than they were at the previous race. That is very interesting, if I do say so myself. Well, at least I'm getting some style points. As I'm basically dragging the barriers from both sides for a second there. But still able to keep my car in good nick, as one is now right behind me once again, and as I would have expected, the AI just literally eviscerated whatever interval I built up from me taking that fairly obvious shortcut that you need in order to gain the early advantage. I'm also pretty sure if this was a sprint race and it was mainly taking place within the city itself, then I'm pretty sure if it was just a city race, then I would have probably got the dub because of that shortcut. And in all honesty, I'm actually glad to say the shortcut literally gives me a huge advantage over the AI before they just suddenly go full Colin McRae send for the rest of the lap. Basically just to destroy any advantage I may have from early on in the lap. I think it's very interesting to know that the AI have not decided to take the trick road, and yet later on in the lap they've still managed to somehow and yet somehow they've still managed to, in a sense, eliminate the interval about probably, less than a minute later, and yet whilst they're doing it, I'm literally just out here basically having the time of my life. Because these roads really are fun to drive. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. And doing some engine braking. And... oh, he fucked it. And yep, he still failed to take the slip road. I'm also pretty sure at the start of the lap this is very clearly a slip road. Well, anyway. Final lap. And once again, an interval I know that will no doubt be reduced to rubble by the time we get out of this zigzagged straight as we now approach the mountain once again. Although that could be a cliff edge. I think it's a mountain though. And keeping my car in 6th gear. And got more curbs to negotiate with. And I think just after this we've got to negotiate with these shortcuts that need to be taken. Yes, here we go. No, that's what I'm talking about. I'm also pretty sure those shortcuts are essential if you want to win a tropical circuit. Because the amount of time you can immediately make up just by taking those 2 shortcuts. It's basically like you're literally gone in less than 15 seconds. Regardless of what interval you have behind the leader. You can basically just steal the win away from him if he doesn't take the shortcut. Of course, I know these AI probably will take the shortcut. Well, it was actually nice to see one of the Fords running up in... what was it? 4th position? I think. Well, anyway. I continue to lead here at Palm City Island. It definitely feels like I'm on one of those uphill and downhill courses. By the amount of time I've spent basically just oscillating upwards and downwards as we're now heading through these final corners and heading back into the city once again, back on the tarmac roads, and 1 corner left, and there we go, win number 2.
The winner!
And I won by 0.8 over 1. Well, at least we know everyone's now got some points on the board. So, I beat Juan to the line by 0.8 of a second, then it was Alexis in 3rd, Dom was 4th, once again completing a Ferrari sweep. And we basically had a 4-way tie for the highest average speed. And the highest overall speed goes to Alexis. My top speed in that race was 167. So Mika finished 5th, ahead of Ashley, and Wayne came home 7th.
You're the tournament leader.
So we now have a two-way tie for 6th, and this definitely causes a shuffle in the points order for the Ferraris, because even though I now have an 11-point advantage, yeah, that's right, Dom and Juan are both tied for 2nd, and Alexis is 4th. Anyways, it took me 11 minutes to set 3 laps around this track. I did not think it was going to be quite this long. That's one thing I can say for sure. Well, anyway, 2 races down and still 2 races to go. Will this be on familiar territory, or will this be yet again on unfamiliar territory? Oh, we're at Outback. Okay, somewhat familiar territory. Okay, so both Dom and Juan are tied with 9 points. I officially have 20 points on the board so far, and don't really think it's worth it to take the airport this early on as my shortcut, although that could just be an Air Force base, judging by those loading planes, and getting some air, and I'm right on Dom's bumper. I slide him out wide, giving me the lead, and now I will take the shortcut. I can never seem to get the entry to be perfect. And using the minecart tracks once again, and just like that, I am back in the lead. I already have 2 wins on the board. I narrowly avoided disaster there. I'm pretty sure if I was any closer to that rock, it would have literally been bedlam, is what I think. And in all honesty, I really don't want to damage this car. I really don't want to damage this car heavily early on. I mean, I know it'll be easy to make up the interval again, but there's just certain things you cannot do to a Ferrari. And I think when it does come to certain Ferraris, that's one of the things you just can't afford to do. You literally just can't. That might just be me, but proverbially, it's one of those things you just cannot do to a Ferrari. Even then, of course, if the Ferrari itself, according to Niki Lauda... Oh, I hit 174. Even then, of course, if, according to Niki Lauda, unless the car itself is akin to his driving style, he'll basically say it's a shitbox. At least I know that's what he said in the film Rush. That is a good film, by the way, Rush. I should also mention that film does star Chris Hemsworth with Daniel Bruhl. I reckon you'll like it. Arguably to do with what is considered by many to more or less be F1's second most iconic racing rivalry. Outside of the... Oh, and someone did use the Air Force as well as the plane. Okay, well, I can respond to this. I'll just simply take the desert roads and... Oh, I went through the river. That's interesting. And just like that, I am now back in the lead. Simple retaliation, if I do say so myself. Or just a simple response to me just answering back. And oh, someone does follow me using the shortcut this time. And we've actually got a Mustang leading this race for the first time. I wonder who's driving it though. Oh, it's Ashley. Okay. So it's one of the guys then. And there's my typical... I'm gonna try seeing if this gives me some extra time. At least I think it will, but anyways. Just like that, I am back out on top again in my very damaged Ferrari. But it's fine, because, well, I did not damage it very early on in the lap, which I know would have meant disaster, but at least I can say it was far enough ahead in the lap for me to not completely inflict that sort of damage. And my top speed is still 174. I don't think I'm going to get any higher into that corner regarding miles per hour than 174. Well, at least I know a Mustang is actually running well for once, because the Ford is running in third. I would have chosen the Mustang had I not used it before, but again, well, because I was going to be using the Aston Martin at some point anyway, and that was basically at an unavoidable point in time, I just decided, you know what, it's probably easier if I just use the Mustang and get it out of the way. And bam, that's pretty much what I did. And gonna take this shortcut again because it helped me so much previously. Oh my god. Oh, fuck me. Okay, it's alright, it's fine. Everything's cool. I've recaptured my car and prevented it from flipping. I'll admit, that is quite blinding. And I'm not going to make it through there. Oh well, I'll just take the normal way. Yeah, there was no way I was just going to suddenly correct where my car was angled once I hit the rock, and then basically just attempting to make it through that shortcut again when the chances of me making it through there were virtually impossible. It's just simply one of those risks that I decided wasn't worth it. Especially since this does look as though it's going to be another one of those events in this game where I could wind up being on a serious winning streak. And yeah, we got 2 Mustangs in the top 4. Mika is now up to 3rd, and she's trying to take 2nd. I don't think she's going to be fast enough though. We shall wait and see. And I still keep overshooting that corner. But it's okay, because I'm still leading this thing. I'm leading it by a narrow margin, but at least I'm still leading this thing, damn it. And that's what I want to do. And through the final corner now, And there we go. I win again.
The winner!
And I also set a new best lap time in the process. Yo! 2 Mustangs inside the top 4. Let's go! Alright, so that's definitely going to cause a shuffle in the points. I'm also pretty sure that definitely secures me the title bar none. And we all had very similar average speeds as well. And my top speed in the end of that was 175. Literally 2 mph away from having the fastest overall top speed. As Wayne had a top speed of 177. Anyways, I beat Alexis to the line, Mika was 3rd followed by Ashley, Dom finished in 5th ahead of Wayne, and Juan, who was fighting for 2nd... Oh, okay, it was Dom who had the highest top speed. And Juan, who was fighting for 2nd...
You're the tournament leader!
Both these guys were fighting for 2nd in points. And now both of them have suddenly given 2nd to Alexis. I did not see that one coming. Anyways, let's continue. There's all that. And now, let's move on to our final race. Since I've already clinched the cup yet again, and by an absolute margin I might add. So here we are, final race, Ancient Ruins, 16-point margin, over 2nd. I'm basically guaranteed to win this no matter what. Let's see if we can get another clean sweep. So I just have some of the juice that's at the side of my desk. I did have some before going into this because, well, I figured it was worth it for me to stay hydrated. And typically the other Ferraris do get the jump on me, but it's okay because I know they're not going to be leading me for much longer. I also know it's not going to take me too long to make up the intervals. And into that hairpin we go at a top speed of 171, and Dom opts to take the shortcut. I don't think it's going to pay off for him, and no it doesn't, because I now take the lead. Now I just have to hope I can hold on to this lead. I know there's probably going to be lead changes here or there, but as long as I can lead all the laps, which is basically what I have been doing up to this point in the event, then I think we should be good. Well, anyway. I love the drive. And you know, I actually like how when it comes to the convertibles you can actually see the drivers changing gear, whether you downshift or upshift. You can actually see your driver avatar literally upshifting and downshifting, which I think is really cool about this game. And this ironically was something they had before Gran Turismo 4 did it. Because I'm pretty sure with open convertibles. Okay. Trying to use my in-air control skills that I ascertained from Midnight Club 2. I know it probably doesn't work as well in this game, but it still works to an extent. That's what I think. Anyways. Little contact there through the final corner as I now retake the lead, and we've now got 2 what basically feels like Le Mans style laps ahead of us. I keep forgetting there's a shortcut there. It would probably help me if I took that shortcut. Well, anyway. Continuing, as I'm getting some air points and hitting a new top speed, this time of 173 through the corner. Probably because I didn't make any contact with the AI, but keeping myself ahead of the pack, and I'm doing a very good job of it as well. And yep, there was no way that was going to work without him crashing both of us. And guess what? He basically did crash both of us. Oh, and Alexis just wrecked herself. I'm pretty sure Alexis is a she, by the way. Anyway. Point is, I retake the lead once again as I'm heading under the bridge and through into these sweeping corners, or snaking corners as I like to call them, because if you put all those corners together it literally is shaped like a snake. And through the the left-hander, and still keeping myself in check, and Dom is just all over my ass at the moment. Still, what happened to Alexis in this race? I mean, she was literally... Oh, fuck you. She was literally running in second at one point, and then suddenly she just basically dropped off the face of the earth. I honestly don't know where she is. She was actually in second at one point. Yo, Mika is running second in this race for the time being. Let's fucking go. I'd say that's probably something I'd be even more proud of than if I knew British Touring Car Championship driver Jade Edwards had better luck in the equipment she has. Because, well, she's come so close to scoring points on numerous occasions, and it is going to happen sooner or later, but I think the main problem Jade has is luck. I mean, I guess you could say she's kind of like what Casey Kane once was in NASCAR, technically, because, well, we always knew Casey Kane was going to have some success in NASCAR because that's just how talented he was, but he basically just never had the luck in his rookie season to prove he could get the job done. And he did finish second 4 times that year in his rookie season. It was 2004, by the way, so that was basically when NASCAR debuted the chase. Although, technically speaking, today, of course, the chase is now inappropriately known as the playoffs. Because they're basically trying to make it the March Madness of all forms of motorsport, basically. Well, not to say entertainment isn't something that's being shown in all sports, but it's really not working out for NASCAR in my opinion. Although that could just be me. Because, well, I never have been a fan. I never have been a fan of the playoffs, if I'm being perfectly honest. And I likely never will be. But overall, I think with the state NASCAR is currently in, it's definitely got a lot of things to sort out. Although that's just coming from me. Oh, Mika is going for the win. I should also mention their playoff system, it does favour winning over everything else. Anyways, I win.
The winner!
Again. Another clean sweep.
Congratulations! You have just won the Ford versus Ferrari Showdown.
Well, ironically, this event is officially known as the Ferrari versus Ford Showdown. I'd imagine they probably got this idea from... I'd imagine they more than likely got this idea from the Ford versus Ferrari rivalry of the mid-60s at Le Mans, where the Ford GT40 went onwards to become one of the most iconic race cars ever made, and it ironically still remains to be the only American car that's actually won the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Also, ironically speaking, of course, Ferrari did win the 24 Hours of Le Mans earlier this year. The first time they've actually done it since 1965. That's literally how long it's been since their last win at Le Mans. And I had a top speed of 174. So Mika finished second in that race, then it was the three Ferraris ahead of Wayne, and it was Ashley who finished in last.
You placed first!
And I decimated the opposition. Okay, so I won by a staggering 24 points. Yes, you heard that correctly. I won by 24 freaking points over Alexis. Mika, as a result of her finishing second, places third. So, good to know we do get one of the Mustangs coming home with a podium in the end. Dom was fourth with 14 points. One eventually came home in fifth. Ashley was sixth. And Wayne finished in last with just 3 points.
You've beaten the lap record for this track.
Yeah, lap record.
You've got the best time for this track.
And best overall time. Yeah. Okay, anyways. Let's now go back to championship mode. As I've been recording this now for less than an hour. That's literally how long most of these tracks have been. But I am glad to say I got the clean sweep, because it means more Need for Speed points. And those will be important, by the way. Anyways, we will ironically be driving the same car again next time in the Ferrari 360 Sprint, coming in the following episode.